I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you want to option the new 2025 Ford Ranger Lariat in carbonized gray metallic over sandstone leather. 2 engine options. You got 4 different trims. The Lariat and the XLT are kind of the sweet spot because you unlock this 2.7 liter that we're showcasing, giving an additional 45 horsepower more and 90 pound-feet of torque more than the 2.3 liter EcoBoost. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and we're going to go over some pros and cons to reveal the 3 reasons why you want to option the 2025 Ranger Lariat. Starting in the front, full LED headlights, daytime runnings. We have the performance LED lighting that goes into the carbonized grille that pushes out the Ford badging, the matte black inserts for the grille, the lower gets a satin aluminum, front and rear parking sensors, and you're gonna get a 360-degree reverse camera. The first reason why I would choose this is because what's underneath this hood. 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6 twin turbocharged engine. That's producing 315 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque paired to a 10-speed select shift automatic transmission. And with the ground clearance is at 9.3 inches, which is crazy considering this is not a full-size truck. But then the con comes into play that it doesn't matter the power option because both will tow up to 7,500 pounds max. Now, putting that into content against competition, unfortunately, it's not the best in class, but in the same category, you're going to be spending more money when you go Toyota Tacoma, and this is going to have more performance underneath it for towing capabilities and payload, and you have to watch which trim you go to in a Tacoma, whereas here, you only have 4 trims to choose from, and if you go into the Raptor, hell, that's the sweet spot because you're literally getting more or less an F-150 discounted. Yes, I understand it's not the same exact vehicle, but the capabilities is crazy. And Chevy and GMC, unfortunately, will be the best in class for towing capabilities and payload. The XL will come standard with a 17-inch silver-painted aluminum wheel. The XLT gets a gray-painted aluminum wheel, and the Lariat, you got it, 18-inch machine-finished alloy wheel with the dark pockets. LED taillights, the rear, you can option steps for the side. I wish because we're at the Lariat, they would just give it to you because it's around $400 or $500 upgrade. And you wouldn't really compare this against Honda and Hyundai because this has more capabilities, making this the sweet spot truck because maybe you don't need to spend that extra few $1,000s, making this the second reason why I would tick the box to the 25 variant. Soft to open, going into a 5-foot bed with a 59.6-inch length. Between the wheel well housing at 48.2 inches, the depth at 20.8 inches. You get some little Easter eggs here with the Ford. You get a home plug. I like that they add the tape measure right here, and you got these little clips, so if you want to add anything to cut or any type of tools, you can do everything on the actual tailgate. The key fob to the Ranger Lariat. 10-way power seat adjustment for the front, heated front seats, leather wrap seats. Memory for the driver. And starting off with the passenger side, you're going to have a storage area here, so I appreciate that. You get the grab handles on the top. It's a flat dashboard layout. It's not really a driver-focused setup, so I appreciate that as well. You get a wireless charging pad, which you do not receive that on the XL. And the B&O sound system, let's fire it up. Now going Lariat, standard 12-inch screen configuration. Otherwise, it's going to be a 10-inch and an 8-inch screen layout on the XL. And the XLE will have the option for the 12-inch center screen. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio, dual climate control settings. You can just click onto here and look how fast it is. I actually like how smooth everything is with this system. Click onto this car icon here and you can go through all your settings. Let's just tear this off so that way you can see exactly what we're talking about here. Click here and this will expand your climate control. Click onto here and you'll have your quick wedges. We have zone lighting, ambient lighting, and you can do sketch. So I think this is pretty cool because if you're, just bored out of your mind, waiting to do a YouTube video because you got to change batteries or whatnot, you can just do that, save it onto your next. Put it into reverse, 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. You have this little plus, you can click onto it, which you can go all around the vehicle and you just hit the negative button here. You also have these sub-menu where you can have it for your front and rear parking sensors. You can line it up for the tow. I would personally leave it this way so you can see, and you can also zoom into the toe here also. So it makes it a little bit more easy. Dual climate control settings is standard. The XL will be just a standard climate control. You got a little storage pocket here that you could put your key fob. Leather going to be around the shifter. This is how you change the gears because you don't have any paddle shifts. And here you can turn off the auto start stop, which we do live streams. You should check it out. I talk about all the auto stuff that goes on through the week. The EPA is talking about taking this out of vehicles, so I can't wait for that to happen. Soft to rest for your arms. Opens up, you get a little storage tray, pick it up, and you got a storage pocket with a 12-volt charger. Leather around the steering wheel, multi-function, and you get the gloss black inserts. The gauge cluster is a digital reader that can go through an array of different content, including your off-road, so you will have your pitch and roll. And you can also, for your towing, you have your My View, your navigation, your phone settings, and whatnot. Leg space is more than enough. So if you're thinking, I want to go F-150, you may not have to. Headroom is the same thing. It doesn't have any moonroof. You can option that. Unfortunately, you do have to option a lot of things when it comes to Ford. And you have LED interior lighting, dashboard and door panel, more or less configured together. I like the glossy black on the side air vents and even here in the center, and they don't go all gloss black. So I appreciate that because you're not going to have fingerprints everywhere. Open this up here, and you got a glove box, and you also have another glove box here. So I think storage-wise, for the passenger, it's great. There isn't a pass-through, but you still have a sufficient amount of storage there. You get the contrast stitching. The satin aluminum comes into play, opening up with one touch up and down for the front windows. It's soft touch where it needs to be with a medium-sized storage pocket because back here tapers off for a smaller wallet. For the back seats, this is the opening that you have, and it's pretty much the same exact for the door. You're gonna have soft materials, pretty decent sized storage pocket here in the lower, and you can fold this whole bench up by pulling this lever right here, so you have two little tubs right underneath to store some storage. Getting inside, there isn't any grab handle here, which is definitely a con. They have one here, but who uses that one? Storage behind both of the front seats. You get a little storage pocket here with a home plug and USB ports. The center will have the armrest with cup holders. It is a little bit smaller, but it's a smaller truck as well. If you're tall, you're going to be covering these cup holders. Leg space is going to be more than enough for backseat occupants, and the same thing for headroom. Sliding into the center, the floor is not completely flat. You're going to share some feet space, but leg and shoulder space as well. You can see where the cutoff is for this area here that I'm basically on both of those sides. And I am covering up all of the charging ports. Headroom is still good, so you could still fit 3 adults, my dimensions, in the back seat. Over 8 inches of clearance, towing up to 7,500 pounds with a payload maxing over 1,500 pounds. I mean, this has all the capabilities that you need in a truck, plus 315 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque with this twin-turbo 2.7-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine. Now that's a lot to take into consideration when you're looking at a truck, plus the price, because now you're going to be in the 50 grand pricing. But what I like here is at that 50 grand price, you're unlocking pretty much everything, and you don't have to spend the extra 5-10 grand to go into a Raptor, which would be crazy because it's a different animal altogether. But you could potentially go down, but then you would have to add the features to get what you have here, so then you're literally right at that 50 grand price. That's why the Lariat just kind of knocks it out of the ballpark, because even if you go into Honda or Hyundai, you're going to be spending around 45, 50 grand to get comparable features, and it's not going to be as capable as this. Now, GMC and Chevy will be a little bit better with towing and payload capabilities, but for overall usage, I don't think you're going to be really shortchanging yourself for, 100 here or there, especially when you're getting the savings and you're getting all this performance underneath the hood. It drives pretty smooth going over these speed bumps that are more like speed tables. And I will note that the 2.3, it does drive a little bit less aggressive. This one will drive a little bit more aggressive, but you also have to take in consideration you're getting 45 horsepower more, 90 pound-feet of torque more. And it's not that bad on MPGs either, so unlocking all the potential of the vehicle and not going into a Raptor and saving money, it's going to take me into pros and cons. Starting off with the pros, you don't have to tick the box to get things like the larger screens, the the dual climate control settings, the wireless charging pad, but then on the con, you still have to tick the box to get this 2.7 liter engine, and it's around a $2,100 upgrade. If you're just looking for features, I would say skip this, save the dough. But if you want all the features and the power, I would say, you know what, spend the extra dough because it's well worth it. By the time you option features, you're not gonna get that much of a savings. And look at the performance you get. Now it is a truck, so don't think it has any dang dynamics, because it does not. But the motivation is definitely there. It's pretty quiet in the cabin. It's a box sitting up, but it's gonna sit a little bit lower than the F-150, which kind of leads me into a problem, because the way they have priced themselves, you could get an F-150, save some money, and have more capabilities. I mean, that to me changes the ball game with the Ranger, because typically with this type of vehicle, you're wanting it to be in the 40s and topping at $50,000. This thing can go over 60 grand. The seats are comfortable, the suspension holds itself well, and whether you're mashing on the gas or the brake, it doesn't feel heavy. So I appreciate that, because when I'm getting these smaller trucks, I don't want it to feel so big. And they do a good job with it, the way you actually sit inside the vehicle. It doesn't feel so long or so wide, making the everyday maneuver a lot more easy. Plus, you could still tackle the workload. Most people don't really need the larger F-150, giving me the third reason why I would get this. Because you have more than enough capabilities for a day in and day out. Hell, you can tow a smaller boat, a couple of jet skis, plus you have plenty of payload, and it's still roomy enough for the interior with enough charging ports for everybody. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out this next video right here. And I'd like to thank our friends here at Furman Ford for giving us this 2025 Ford Ranger Lariat for our car review.